put us in the mindset of an all-city player, bona fide Division I player, hood star, everybody love you. Tell us about that mindset, man.
I mean, it's a blessing at the end of the day. When I was a young kid, I didn't think I would be in that position. I mean, obviously, just even in high school, I just like to play the game. And probably took it for granted, you know, but at the end of the day, I had to change my focus, you know, after falling off my freshman year, not being able to play because I thought I was bigger than who I am. And didn't really pay attention in school. But to be able to play 2 years and to accomplish what I did in high school, I mean, senior year, scored 1,000 points in 1 year. I mean, that's big, you know.
So how did you messing up early on in the high school career hinder your recruiting process?
I didn't really know too much about that, you know, like, because, like you said, there's no social media, so I didn't really pay attention to none of that, you know, being a freshman, being a sophomore. So I started taking it serious, started playing AAU, started, you know, seeing different competition, starting to learn about rankings and stuff like that. That's when I started to take it and to shift my mind in a different gear. So
did you know about the SAT score and how your SAT score had to be equivalent to your GPA?
Yeah. Just from playing on varsity, knowing that a couple of other seniors had to do that and what it takes and stuff like that. I knew about that, but I still didn't care about that at that time.
When did you understand the politics of basketball? Because these guys don't understand the politics of basketball. It plays a significant role.
Oh, it does. I think my junior year at ABCD camp.
Okay. Who's at ABCD camp that these guys might know? I know
LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Lenny Cook, Raymond Felton. Man, I mean, the list goes on. You know, like, these is guys that still playing basketball. And I was like top 3 guard in the camp. I mean, well, Sebastian was there. You know, a couple other people. I was top 3 guards in the camp. And because I didn't play with the Panthers no more, and I switched to Riverside, which was a Nike team, I didn't make the All-Star game. That's what I knew it was politics.
ABCD camp was Adidas, and you played with
played with Riverside.
Wow. What are some of the negative and positive of being a high school star in Brooklyn? Sustaining that, maintaining that, and be able to, you know.
Expectations. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, people start expecting stuff that I wasn't expecting myself. You know, just because of some of the things I was doing. I mean, so
family members or outside people.
It was more outside people. I mean, the biggest thing was my family. You know, who kept me level-headed. But at the end of the day, it was an expectation for them too, because they wouldn't let me slack. You know, it was sometimes where 30 points wasn't good enough, and I'm like, what? Like, what you mean? But that's what made me who I am. That's what made me a killer on the court, because this was what was expected of me.
So let's transition from high school to college. So you experienced, you was a Jordan Brand Classic All-American. I remember I was like 12. You threw it off the backboard to LeBron. That was crazy on ESPN. So you was the top 100 nationally ranked as a senior. So you go from being celebrated to coming off the bench as a freshman, top 25 team. Where's your mindset at now?
Obviously, like you said, when you come out of high school and you're a top 25 player, you expect to start. You know, like, I could have, you know, coach talked to me about it, but at the end of the day, it's what's best for the team. And if that's my role as a freshman, having 3 more years, and you got a senior who's trying to transition from shooting guard to a point guard so he can fulfill his dream to see if he can get to the NBA, I mean, I'm with that. And that's sacrifices that you take to win. I mean, obviously, we was top 4 in the country, won the SEC outright, number 2 in the NCAA tournament. So that's things that I was able to accomplish and to sit back and learn how to become a leader on the next level.
So while in school, it's not abnormal to, you know, have a kid. But so you had a kid in school, and you was coming off your freshman year and being celebrated as a high school senior. So how does having a kid on and off the floor help you, or your mindset rather, or does it hurt you?
For me, it helped me
Wow.
to become a grown man. I mean, early. I mean, obviously, having a kid is a blessing. I mean, I didn't think I would have a child at that early.
Right.
But at the end of the day, is what happened. So now I changed my focus. I mean, obviously, to being a parent. But at the end of the day, now I have a mouth to feed.
Right.
You know, so now that takes it up another notch as well. And you can't settle for nothing less.
So you transferred from Mississippi State to Arkansas. Why did you do that?
I think I needed a change.
Why?
You know, sometimes it's not the right fit, or, you know, you may bump head with coaches. I mean, for me, it was just, I think I needed to go somewhere where I could be myself. You know, I think.
Why in conference, Arkansas, same conference as Mississippi State. Trying to get back at them?
It was more doing my homework. You know, I wanted to go somewhere where we were good, we had bigs, you know, like, these are all guys that was going to be juniors with me. So, you know, I'm going into a place where you got seven juniors and experienced players for the next 2 years. I mean,
what did you learn from that transfer year? Because the NCAA, when you transfer from a Division I school to another school, you have to sit out a year. So what did you learn? How did that help you mentally and physically sitting out?
Obviously, again, it makes you you hungry. I mean, when you love the game of basketball, nobody wants to sit out. You know, a whole full year. Truth be told, transferring in conference, you're supposed to sit out 2 years.
Wow.
You can't. It's so like, this is probably like one of the first times, you know, I was able to do that. Okay. So the transition was different. I mean, obviously the schooling is different now, because now you transfer into a school, they might not have the same major, you know. So for me, I had to do a lot to get back to where I was even eligible to play, because they took half of your credits. Okay.
So I played with Charles Jenkins, who, you know, he got drafted to the Warriors in 2011, and he was an unsung recruit. You being a high-level recruit, you made third-team All-SEC team, Player of the Week a few times. Do you feel like you had a disappointing college career because you was in the same game with LeBron?
Of course.
Wow.
I mean, to say satisfied, not really, because I know my expectations. I mean, I had a, you know, solid, decent career, over 1,000 points, over 550 assists, but you always set the bar high, you know. But I don't say like I disappointed anybody else. I mean, I got something out of it. I got a college degree, you know, probably the first out of my parents' kids. Like, it's a lot of things that go with that. I mean, my father, you know, like, so to say disappointed, I was able to still play basketball for a long time.
Yeah. As a pro, you got accolades from the fruit of your labor. You put that pain in. You traveled D-League, a couple teams, went to Australia, Ukraine, France. What's the most important lesson you learned during that your pro career? That's a 10-year pro career you had.
I learned, obviously, that for people in the States, everything is about the NBA. You know, and when we was growing up, like you said, again, there's no social media, so that was the focus.
Absolutely.
You know, it was just NBA or nothing.
Plus, NBA.
Like, it's just that simple. Yes. But, you know, being able to do some of those things, I mean, obviously, not being able to make it to the NBA, but to go overseas, you see things a lot clearer. I mean, obviously, you get to be yourself. I mean, so at the end of the day, when you go to different countries and you're like a Chris Paul or a LeBron somewhere else, when you come home, you could be a normal person. It's a lot of stuff you don't have to worry about. When you're in the NBA, you can't come home and just be a regular person. You can't walk the streets. Right. Certain things is expected. So I think that was the best thing for me. As much as I wanted to go to the NBA, to be laid back, this was the best route for me.
That's peace. Now you're still playing and competing at a high level. So most recently, you got MVP last year in Gersh, Premier League. You're playing all top leagues in New York City. Player of the Year, Nike Player of the Year a couple years ago. What keeps you going right now after you done playing overseas?
It's just the love. I mean, I still can go overseas, but I shift my mind a little bit. You know, I think I'm trying to give back. You know, when I was younger, I didn't have people to come to the school, talk to me. let me know how things are. And for me to be able to do that now, I think that's the biggest thing, you know. So it's about the kids now. But as far as the basketball going on now, I mean, some of it is about pride, but at the end of the day, it's just something I love.
Okay. Now that's going to conclude our 8 to 10 Q&A questions with Gary Irvin. Anybody want to chime in? Any questions for him? No questions? He played Division I. He's a professional, 10-year pro. So everybody here think y'all going to the NBA? Everybody? Raise your hand if you want to go to the NBA. Raise your hand. Now, by the numbers, I'm not shooting anyone's dream down, but by the numbers, that's highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 of y'all maybe lucky to have this career this guy had right here. Is no questions, Jakai?
What if you would like let's say, like what kept you going? Like what was your goal in life?
From a basketball standpoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, like you guys, my goal was to be an NBA basketball player. But with that not happening, I don't think I shortchanged myself. And what kept me going, again, is I have a mouth to feed, you know, at the end of the day. And sometimes it's not about your family. Sometimes it's about your peers as well, the people that look up to you. You know, your friends, some of your friends that probably was better than you that didn't get to make it. I mean, so that played a big factor in me to keep going. Y'all definitely wouldn't know, but my best friend who passed away was part of the real reason why I strive to be who I am, because he couldn't do it because he wasn't here. Nigel Bullen.
Nigel Bullen.
He was
good?
He was it.
That's dope. Any other question?
When you transferred colleges and you made that, you know, it had to be like a heart-bearing decision to leave one college to go to another. Did you know that was going to hurt you not being able to play that following year?
Yeah, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to play. I mean, I could have came closer to home and, you know, said that my family, which was true, my grandmother was sick, and I probably could have played, but I didn't want to come back home. I didn't want to be close to home and get sidetracked, you know, by coming into a Seton Hall or Villanova or St. John's. So I wanted to stay away so I can be more focused into what I wanted to do.
So you made that decision basically, and you were saying, I'm not going to play, I'm gonna hurt for a little while, but I'm going to be better at the tail end.
Sometimes it's a positive. I got a positive thing came out. I was able to gain my confidence back, be who I am. You know, I think I got away from that my first 2 years. Oh, not even my first 2 years. I had spurts, but it was more of, I felt that I was being held back. You know, so it would be games where, for instance, we play on ESPN, I have 18 and 10, and then it's games where coach is like, basically like a tug of war. So I thought that it was more of, let me transfer, let me get this year, let me get my game going, let me work on my jump shot. You know, so it's a lot of things. I don't really take it as a negative because I sat out a year, because I gained a lot.
Nas? No question? I mean, Mississippi State, Arkansas, no questions? Overseas?
Playing overseas, did you have to learn any different languages?
Good question, yeah, of course. Well, I wouldn't say I've learned how to get by, like just enough to where it's important, you know, like so. When I was in Ukraine, that was the hardest because it wasn't a lot of English. So I was able to understand the Russian language, to ask for certain things or what I want to eat, or, you know, just the little things, little questions, things like that.
Great question.
What's the difference overseas? Because I heard that, like, certain teams, you can only have, like, 3 players from, like, America.
Oh, great question, shorty.
Definitely. I mean, it's different in every country. I think in France you can have up to 5, which is crazy. But the most, I mean, for majority of the countries is about 3. 4 maybe, depending on what it is, but about 2 to 3.
Another question?
You know, you and I are about the same age. Growing up, like, who would you say was one of the toughest guards you had to hold? You know what I'm saying? You had a tough one-on-one session with them. Every time y'all played, he's like, yo, I know I gotta lace up my boots and go to war. And a lot of these kids are here guards, and I'm not sure if they're gonna face that, but I've seen you have to go against the Sebastians and all of those dudes. But like, outside of Sebastian,
You talking about in New York or just in the country?
and he played with Patrick Beverly, by the way, too, who's a defensive.
Y'all know who Patrick Beverly is? That was his college teammate. Who's Patrick Beverly?
He played for the
That's it. That was his college teammate.
Yeah.
They was in the backcourt together.
Yeah.
I went at it with a couple of people, honestly, and I'm being as honest as I can be.
Yeah, it's humble talk.
Nobody killed me. It's either we had a battle or I got the best.
Wow.
And that's just the honest to God truth. I mean,
Not even bashy? Not even bashy?
Not bashy.
I was at that game.
Not bashy. I'm gonna tell you a little story because that's a good question. So, going into my senior year, AAU, we in Boo Williams tournament in Virginia, and we got there. We had a game. So after the game, another team is playing. The two other teams that we gonna play, they're in our pool. So I'm watching the game for a little while, and I'm like, yo, dude play and move like Sebastian. He nice. And they was like, yeah, that's the top point guard in your class. We play them tomorrow. I told the team, we out, we go home. I'll see them tomorrow. I don't even want to watch the game. It was Chris Paul. Wow. So already being a New York City guard and that mentality, we wound up playing against them. I locked him up and I killed them. And we won the game. But with that being said, out of all of them, the person that went at it with me the most is Raymond Felton.
Raymond Felton.
Yeah. For y'all who don't know about, y'all may know Raymond Felton, but what y'all seeing is totally different. The kid, he was athletic, one of the strongest guards, could shoot, lockdown defender. And we had a war. I had 43 at 39. He went right back at me. So that would be.
Another question?
You know, I live in Staten Island, but I work out in Brooklyn, Coney Island. So I was fortunate to meet Steph Marbury. A good friend of mine, Pastor Miller, he passed away, actually married Marbury's sister. So, you know, we've been out to his house in Jersey and stuff like that. And I heard you talking about earlier about the politics in basketball. A lot of these kids are not going to really grasp that question or, you know, what's entailed behind that.
Absolutely.
When you left high school going into playing college, started to play college, and then left college going to go play pro ball, whether it was overseas or trying to get here, how much setbacks do you feel you dealt with during that transition?
Good question.
That's a great.
You trying to go one direction, and you felt like it's like, how do I get from point A to point B without having to go A, C, and then back to B?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Obviously, the transfer was one setback because you get some college coaches that recruit you for who you are, and you get some college coaches that recruit you to be what they want you to be.
I hope y'all heard that.
Exactly.
I hope y'all heard that.
Yes.
And that was big.
I heard you say you want to remain to be yourself.
That was.
And you didn't allow anybody to change your mindset.
Yes.
That was the biggest one, because I could have went a lot of places in the country. I could have went to UConn, Arizona, North Carolina. The list goes on, Alabama. And picking that school, I thought I was going to be myself. I mean, and that kind of altered me. So now I'm transferring to Arkansas. Was able to be myself, but I still had a mentality of being a point guard. leaving there, going from there to the D-League, you got to shift again. You know, so I think every level is a shift, but as long as you can remain yourself through it all, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you got to live with your decisions. You know, you may have people, you know, I have people that ask me, like, do I felt I should have went to this college or that college? That's the path that, at the end of the day, that was for me, regardless into what happened. I still was able to play 10 years professional basketball, so I still did things that a lot of people won't do, you know. So
that concludes our Q&A with Gary Irvin, New York City Hall of Fame player. Next two teams, let's do it. What was it, Future Stars? Let's get downstairs. Thanks, G. Let's give it up for Gary Irvin, man. Clap it up.